sacrament has form, which means the idea or the grace or the spirituality which is being communicated. But they also have matter. So baptism is with water, the forgiveness of sins through the imposition of hands, the Eucharist with the elements of bread and wine, etc. The idea is they appeal to the whole person, not just to the spirit, but to the body as well. Catholic sacramental theology is a reflection or a further instantiation of our anthropology, the way we understand the human person. The doctrine of transubstantiation is that the Eucharistic elements, the bread and the wine, are changed through the power of Christ's own words at their most fundamental level, even as the accidents or the appearances of bread and wine remain. So it depends upon the distinction between, I would say, appearance and reality. So the appearance remains the same, but the deepest reality has changed. So the Lutheran view, roughly, justification by grace through faith alone. That sets us right with God. The Catholic view is to be saved is to be drawn into friendship with God. What's the moment when the friendship is sufficient? What's the moment when in some ways, who knows? The Lord wants us to grow in that friendship, and He keeps summoning us, first through faith, and then through the life lived in the church and in the world. He's drawing us ever more into friendship with Him. Faith, yeah, there's the beginning. It's the seed, the initium, it radix, the root of justification. But then it grows and broadens and deepens through the works of love. Faith now expressing itself through love deepens, broadens, enriches our justification, which means being set right with God. Luther essentially said that every individual person must become a pope, must be the definitive interpreter of the Bible. Something a lot of us dream about, speculate about. If Luther had been able to come to the first session of the Council of Trent, Luther died in the midst of the first session of Trent. What if he had been there? What if he had been there at this gathering of Catholic hierarchs and theologians? Because when you read the documents of Trent, I find them very moving in the measure that they gesture broadly toward the Reformers. These are very smart people who had read the Reformers carefully, and they gesture positively to a lot of the observations of the Reformers. If only Luther had been there, if he had a chance to hear these people who were taking him very seriously, what might have happened? I think Luther was too polemical, and I think he fell into opposition so quickly with the Catholic Church. Again, I think if we had just found a way to take in Luther's great, legitimate insights, there could be a Lutheran order within Catholicism. That just as the Franciscans and Dominicans and Augustinians add something, they nuance, they emphasize, and so on. We could have used that up and down these last 5 centuries. Look at Vatican II's great stress on the priesthood of all believers. We would call that the universal call to holiness. The fact that baptism draws every person into Christ's priesthood, His prophecy, His kingship. Well, those are certainly gesturing toward Luther's idea of the priesthood of all believers. Vatican II is dripping with the Bible, with biblical language. It insists upon the primacy and centrality of the Bible. That's certainly a gesture toward reformers. Can I envision a day of unity? In a certain way, I'm theologically obligated to envision it because Christ prayed for it. Thank God we got through the first stage. We're not anathematizing each other and we're not in violent opposition. We're able to sit around a table in friendship. Love should sustain a very serious quest for the truth. In that truth, we're going to find unity. But there's a lot of tough ground between where we are and that dream. And think of the whole range of ethical issues that we as Christians take seriously. To create a culture of life, as John Paul II said. To battle a culture of death. We can all do that right now together. And so I would stress that as well. Common ground abounds, and we should seize it together.